Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh and Barakatha Yahweh Shai, and the Wada Yahabashim Yahweh Shai Yaha Rakakodash. That is Holy Spirit moving me, compelled me through this lesson entitled the NWO, which that's the acronym for New World Order, is in full effect. All right, because when I woke up earlier, I was just thinking about facial recognition and how these different situations in which Esau says that he's not able to identify people is going to lead to the implementation of that. All right, let me grab this in the book of Isaiah, the 10th chapter. All right, because we know about the Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. All right, Esau creates a problem, anticipating a reaction, and then he brings forth a solution. All right, that's his MO, his modus operandi. But that the beautiful thing is, ultimately, he's going to fail. All right, because we see with the high ass energy prices, that's leading to what? That's leading to a lot of companies having to force majeure, meaning they're not able to deliver on their product, primarily oil, but other things as well, which are tied to oil, which is tied to the energy crisis. All right, we're seeing people complaining all on social media about the skyrocketing gas prices, the other energy prices, how much they got to pay for the light bill, how much they got to pay for food, right? And this is just the beginning of it. A lot of people are anticipating that people are really going to feel it within the next 3 to 4 months. All right, and this is all by design. All right, so this is the book of Isaiah 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. That's right, because this situation is going to lead to more unrighteous decrees. All right, this is going to be an opportunity to bring in energy shutdowns, because they're already beginning to ration. Yeah, like places like Pakistan, they say they got like 3 days worth of oil. In India, anywhere from 25 to 30. And we see that there's a lot of activity in that Strait of Hormuz. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and pull this up. But this is all strategic. Now, there's a saying, I believe it was by Kissinger. Could have been one of the Rothschilds, but I believe it was Kissinger, said never let a good crisis go to waste. All right, so the IRGC orders ships get out of the Persian Gulf. Mass exodus underway as vessels head for Dubai. All right, so this is happening, man. This ain't slowing up. A cargo ship attacked by multiple small boats in the Strait of Hormuz. And because really what this incursion into the so-called Middle East has done, it's created an energy crisis, which then Esau can bring about what? More lockdowns. Now you got a new virus that's circulating. People was on a cruise ship, and now people are infected. So when you put all these things together, and we know what Esau has intended according to the Georgia Guidestones Agenda 30, it all makes sense. All right, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Peep this though, right? While my family of 7 was supposed to fly on Spirit to Miami for $597, the American air rescue fares are almost 10 times that. So instead of $597, they're saying that she's supposed to pay $5,388. So what is it going to lead to? People not being able to travel. And we know that's prophecy. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right, because first and foremost, this is all biblical prophecy. The whole intent of Esau's heart was placed in his heart, in his mind, by the Heavenly Father via the spiritual demon Satan. All right, because we know, pursuant to the book of Job, the 12th chapter, the deceived and the deceiver are his. Everybody's in the hand of the Heavenly Father. So we see it playing out. And that's why ultimately Esau's going to lose, because he thinks this is his program. This is my new world order. No, this is ultimately going to lead to the kingdom of heaven. That's how powerful our power is. So let me grab this in Psalms 94, verse 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? That's right. So Esau is attempting to bring in mischief via law. Well, look, what else are we supposed to do? If we don't ration energy, if we don't ration food, we don't ration water, it's going to run out. Problem, reaction, solution. Psalms 94 and 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? That's right. So he's attempting to bring in and implement his mischievous agenda via law. And we already see that the prostitutes, the media, they're insinuating that that's what's going to needs be done. All right, Psalms 94 and 20 in the NLT. Can unjust leaders claim that the power of Yahweh is on their side? Leaders whose decrees permit injustice. That's right. Yeah, because most of these supporters of the Trump administration, they're God-fearing Christians. They're all about liberty. And these people are a bunch of jokes. Right, Judith 7 and 12. Yep, beautiful. Judith 7 and 12. Remain in thy camp and keep all the men of thine army, and let thy servants get into their hands the fountain of water, which issueth forth of the foot of the mountain that are near, and will camp upon them to watch that none go out of the city. That's right, because that's an old war tactic. all right, to restrict people from water, because that's one of the main life sources. Matter of fact, on that note, let's pull this up. Let me see if this is back on. Yep, it's back on board after the hack. All right, it's the book of Sirach 29 and 21. The chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and in house to cover shame. That's right. So these are the chief things of life. And we see that these things are beginning to be restricted. And this is all by design. And again, we're not ignorant. All right. We understand exactly what's going on. And like I said, I just woke up. It's kind of random, but I just woke up thinking about that, thinking about more surveillance, facial recognition. That's gonna be the main thing that's pushed in these coming months. Because even on my Robinhood account, right, for a while, they were, in order for me to withdraw some money, I would have to do a face scan, biometrics. So that's the main thing that Esau is going to implement before he implements what, the mark of the beast, because we see that he's bringing this in incrementally. Like you look up that word insidious. That word insidious goes into a gradual implementation of things. All right, this is the book of Proverbs 21 and 12. The righteous man wisely considereth the house of the wicked, but the power of Yahweh overthroweth the wicked for their wickedness. That's right, and that's the beautiful thing. We know that the Heavenly Father is ultimately going to disappoint this man. All right, that's why we can measure the time diligently. We can check out these different documentaries and not get shooken up in the spirit. All right, this is the book of Job, chapter 5, verse 12. He disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. That's right. So Esau, he isn't going to be able to implement everything. Yet he is going to get to a certain point, and we're just about at that point. Maybe the whole Epstein files, that was released pretty much as a gauge of what people will accept. Because the cat's out the bag, so to speak. All right, everything is out there, and these people are still what? These people are still zombied out. So he gonna keep what? He gonna keep forcing the issue. He gonna see how much he can get away with. I had to take a walk and calm my spirit down yesterday, thinking about all Esau invasion of privacy. Yep. Yeah, and my job to start, I got to scan my face. See, that's the spirit, man. Because I just woke up thinking about that. Like, damn, they gonna start really pushing the facial recognition everywhere, and that's a prelude. That's another step before people have to receive that MOTB, the mark of the beast. Psalms 21 and 11, for they intended evil against thee. They imagine a mischievous device which they are not able to perform. Beautiful. It's a mischievous device, yet they're not going to be able to perform it because there's going to be a lot more resistance. And because people are pissed off, man. Like I was touching on that deal between the Trump son and that Kazakh company. Like people see the rampant corruption. Hey, Trump saying right out of his mouth, man, we ain't got time for Medicare, Medicaid, daycare. We got wars. So you're gonna have a lot of people, and it's hard to imagine right now because people are so zombied out, they're so complacent. But you are gonna have a lot of people that get stirred up. I can feel that spirit of sedition is about to increase. Micah 2 verse 1, woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. That's right. So it says, woe unto those people. Like, because ultimately the Heavenly Father is going to bring calamities, troubles on Esau/Edom. All right, this is the book of Job, chapter 20. And like the brother said, man, that's an evil thing, man. Because this man wants to be like the Most High. He wants to replace the Most High. He want to monitor everything that you got going on. Hey, this devil actually, this came out years ago. So Silicon Valley is pretty much the epicenter of all this wicked left-handed quote unquote tech. This devil wants to create an app to measure the strokes that you give in your woman. He wants to monitor the air that you take in. That's why they've been speaking about carbon taxes, right? The air, all right, the water that you consume, and with this energy crisis, it's not going to stop at just the energy rationing. It's going to be what? Water rationing and food rationing. And that's according to prophecy. All right, Heavenly Father going to break the staff of bread. All right, in Egypt and all across the globe. I saw an article where they're supposedly going straight to have cameras facing the seats in all new cars. Yeah, yep. Hey, and those Moabite cars, because I was driving one in Costa Rica, they got a lot of that technology, man. Cameras everywhere. What is it? BYD, I believe that's the name of it. Yeah, it's a cold game. Hey, but the beautiful thing is, this devil has an expiration point. So let me grab this and I'm gonna wrap up. Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, right? Dire straits, which is why it tells in Isaiah 47 chapter that he's wearied in the multitude of his counsels. This devil is meeting consistently, continuously Because first and foremost, the Heavenly Father is causing chariots to encircle them wherever they're at. Bohemian Grove, at these nuclear centers, that's being underreported. You got a little bit of talk about quote unquote UFOs, and if we release this, people would be kind of startled. But them chariots is really terrifying Esau on the under. If you read between the lines, you can see what the Heavenly Father is doing, man. He's dispatching the angels to let Esau know, hey, look, I'm on you. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him, right? And that word for wicked is amal, which means labor. So there's going to be a worldwide uprising against Esau. Says even right now, people are sedated, but it's going to get so bad, people are going to look around and say, man, there's no other course of actions but to take these people out of power. See, we're already there, yet we don't do it physically. All right, we just pray to the Heavenly Father through His Son to bring judgment upon this man. We know, according to the prophecy, is going to happen. All right, when he is about to fill his belly, the power of Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating, right? So while he has a good amount of his agenda accomplished, the Heavenly Father is going to take him out. And that's why brothers perceive that within the next few months, I don't want Ratazah, not years, that the Heavenly Father is going to take this man out. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and enter through the Spirit. I pray that this was not only edifying, but also exhorting and comforting. I once again want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the true power of heaven and earth, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, a Barakatha Yahweh and Barakatha Yahweh Shai, and the Wada, Yahabashim Shai, Kayaha, Rakakwadash. That is Holy Spirit, which moved me, compelled me to do this lesson. And I don't want to tomorrow. I'll be right back at it like a script edit if if the Spirit don't hit me to do something a little later on in the evening as well. All right, until next time, Abba Babal, and Shalom to the remnant, and Shalom to the elect.